10 Gruesome Ways People Took Revenge Against Rapists. Welcome to Creepshow, where we explore the darkest, most disturbing tales from around the world. In today's episode, we're diving into stories of extreme vengeance, where victims and their families sought brutal justice against rapists who shattered their lives. These chilling tales are not for the faint of heart. Viewer discretion is strongly advised as we count down 10 gruesome acts of revenge against rapists. Let's get started. 10. Man murders rapist of wife, then cooks and eats his penis. An Indonesian man called Rudy Effendi killed someone he thought had sexually abused his wife in November 2015. He then chopped off the man's penis and carried it home for his wife to prepare. He ate the cooked penis, along with his wife. When Effendi married his bride that September, he found her not to be a virgin as he had first assumed. According to his wife, she was a virgin until she was sexually assaulted by the man driving her 1 week earlier. Effendi advised his wife to arrange a meeting with the driver by phone. The driver paid respect to the rendezvous, but met Effendi instead of his wife. Effendi killed him with a knife, then chopped off his penis and burned his car ablaze. Effendi said he ate the penis to heal himself from the trauma the rape brought about. He asserted, nonetheless, that he acted alone and denied his wife's participation. Police insisted the wife had been an accomplice. Number 9. Man uses hot spatula on tenant's privates after he raped his teenage daughter. After learning his 45-year-old tenant had sexually abused his 13-year-old daughter, a 36-year-old unidentified Indian man killed him in 2014. According to his daughter, the tenant had hauled her into his room and tied her off before raping her. Should she tell someone, he threatened to murder her. She notified her father only once she became positive for pregnancy. The man had mentioned to his wife he wanted to speak with the tenant. He headed toward the flat of the renter, where he tied the man up and covered his lips to prevent shouting. Then, he used a steel spatula on the tenant's privates after heating it on a burner. The tenant passed death under torture. Following the murder, the unidentified father reported himself to the cops. Originally confronting his renter about the rape, he said the tenant taunted him, which resulted in the murder. Since the man used to be a very peaceful person, most people in Chandanagar, where he lived, were taken aback that he could kill someone. Still, many in India, where 93 rapes are recorded daily, think the man acted morally. Number 8. Mother stabs daughter's rapist to death. An unidentified 56-year-old South African mother, only known as Lion Mama, was away from her house when someone called to inform her that some men were sexually abusing her daughter. The caller was a cousin of one of the offenders. Eventually, the woman would kill that rapist. When the woman phoned the cops, they did not answer. She then hurried back to her Kumbu Eastern Cape house and discovered 3 men alternately raping her 27-year-old daughter. She sliced all 3 males non-stop until they passed out. One later passed away. The other 2 survived but with injuries. The woman had charges of both attempted and actual murder. Given that rape is also somewhat common in South Africa, the episode generated quite a stir. Later, the National Prosecution Authority, NPA, dismissed all accusations against the woman. The NPA never found out why it removed the charges, but the general public supported the mother most likely had something to do. The 2 surviving males were charged for the rape in the meantime. Number 7. Lady chops off the penis of a rapist. Reversing direction back to India, in her house in Kerala, a 23-year-old lady severed the penis of a 50-year-old Hindu religious leader, Hari Swami, sometime in 2017. The mother of the woman hired Swami to spiritually purify their house. Still, he was surreptitiously sexually abusing the women. The girl told her apathetic mother. When Swami tried rape of the unidentified woman once more, she attacked him with a knife, severing his penis. After severing Swami's penis, the woman called the police. Taken to the hospital, Swami had surgery. Police intended to charge Swami for rape as well as the lady's mother for complicity. Number 6. Woman kills brother accidentally while shooting her daughter's rapist to death. Floridian Connie Serbu shot an 18-year-old family friend she suspected of sexually abusing her daughter some years earlier in 2017. At the rape, her daughter was 6 years old. Serbu had misled Xavier Sierra, the teenage victim, into the forest, where she shot him. John Vargas, her brother, was in the woods at the shooting and participated in the murder scene. He was shot too, and subsequently passed away from his wounds. Once her daughter informed her about the rape, Serbu began organizing the murder in May 2016. She told several friends, but most deterred her from committing murder. She would, when advised, call the police rather. Serbu, though, had already decided what she wanted. She got in touch with Sierra in 2017, saying she needed him to help her build a bunk bed at her house. She promised to pick him up and bring him home. Vargas joined in. As Serbu drove into the forest, he challenged Sierra about the rape. When Serbu stopped the car, Sierra tried to flee, but Vargas caught up with him. At the time, Vargas carried 2 firearms, and Sierra sought to grab one. During the battle, Vargas was shot in his abdomen. Sierra murdered with 6 shots at last. Serbu reportedly handled one of the weapons during the shootings. 5. Man shoots grandfather for daughter raping. Because Raymond Earl Brooks had sexually assaulted Jay Maynor's daughter when she was a tiny child, 43-year-old Jay Maynor shot and killed him in Berlin, Alabama, in June 2014. The victim's maternal grandpa was Brooks. Brooks was sentenced to 5 years for the rape in 2002. He served just 2.5 years behind bars before his release. 2014 saw Maynor decided he had had enough and headed off to kill Brooks. Maynor stopped at a store to try to kill his daughter's violent boyfriend before heading to Brooks' house. The lover was not injured when he fired a gun into the establishment. He then headed for Brooks' house. Maynor was sentenced to 40 years for killing Brooks and 20 more years for attempting murder of his daughter's lover. 4. Man beats would-be rapist to death, daughter. Melvin Harris stopped at a Phoenix convenience shop on August 2, 2018, after delivering his daughter and friends home. He waited outside as his daughter and her friends went into the shop to use the loo and acquire refreshments. Later on, Leon Armstrong, identified as the would-be rapist, walked up to Harris and begged for money. Harris handed him some change. Armstrong headed into the business. Later on, Harris was told Armstrong tried to access the restroom cubicle his daughter was using. Harris spotted Armstrong as he was leaving the shop with his daughter and pals. He confronted Armstrong, battering him, then left. 5 days later, Armstrong passed away from his injuries. Harris was taken under custody following Armstrong's death. Witnesses said Harris kept striking and kicking Armstrong even after he dropped on the ground, but he claimed Armstrong attacked first and denied kicking him afterwards. Following the battle, Armstrong developed a broken nose and cerebral edema. Harris got charged with second-degree murder. His bond has been decided upon as $100,000. 3. Woman sets her husband on fire for raping her daughter. 39-year-old Tatanisha Hedman poured gasoline on her husband, Vincent Phillips, as he slept before lighting him on fire on July 16, 2014, in Kent, Washington. Hedman felt Phillips' stepdaughter, her daughter, had been sexually assaulted. After the episode, Phillips ran into a nearby shop shouting that he was on fire. Falling on his knees, he begged customers to assist him. Particularly around his head and torso, Phillips received major burns. He did, nevertheless, survive the onslaught. A gunshot would have been too nice, hence Hedman stated she decided to light Phillips on fire rather than shoot him. Whereas Phillips was accused of first-degree child molesting, Hedman was charged with assault and arson. 2. Man beats daughter's rapist to death. On his Texas ranch, an unidentified 24-year-old guy beat a man attempting to rape his daughter till dead. Identified as 47-year-old Jesus Mora Flores, the rapist had hauled the 5-year-old to the side of a barn where the attack and rape took place. Flores was pulling the small child when someone noticed and reported to her father. Running to the scene, the father routinely gave Flores head and neck punches. He then gave 911 a call. Flores, at the brink of death, the unidentified father struggled to guide the dispatcher to his secluded ranch. He conveyed his worry that Flores was dying and told the operator on the line to send an ambulance right away. Flores passed later. Still, cops never detained the man. Later on, they claimed they would not charge him since Texas law allows the use of fatal force to stop an attempted or actual rape. Number 1. Woman stabs a rapist to death and drags his body with her car. Roxanne Ika Peters stabbed Grant Jason Cassar dead in her Kapalaba, Australia home in December 2015. Peters disposed of Cassar's body in a ditch in one of the most cruel manners following his murder. She wrapped his body up, hooked it to the back of her car, then dragged it 1 kilometer, 0.6 meters, before throwing it in the ditch. Peters said Cassar had before raped her and threatened to harm her kid should she refuse him another rape. For the murder, Peters was sentenced to 9 years in jail. She got 18 more months for interfering with a corpse. David Bottas, the judge, accepted the rape and threat made her act the way she did, but chastised her for violating Cassar's body and failing to call the police. Thank you for joining us on this intense journey through stories of revenge and justice. Whether you believe these actions were justified or taken too far, these cases reveal just how deep the scars of trauma can run. If you want more content like this, make sure to subscribe to Creepshow and hit that notification bell so you never miss a new episode. Share your thoughts on these stories in the comments below, and as always, stay curious, but stay safe.